Ginny, do you want to go get dressed? Damn it.
Excuse my sister Harry, is Ginny. She has been talking about you all week. It's annoying.
It was then that he discovered something much more interesting than magic.
That's why you should never try and find free movies on Pornhub. Why would you even try to find it there? Listen, mate, Netflix costs more than a bloody house, and I can't be fucked trying to find it on one of the other 72 streaming services. He's joking. If you're watching this, Netflix or Warner Brothers, we don't pirate your movies. Who are you talking to? So I'm assuming you found the real movie eventually? I did, actually. Well, hurry up, mate. This preamble is killing our retention. So the movie starts with that specko kid Dudley from the first film roasting Hazza Potto about his dead mum and how he found her old OnlyFans account. Specko. You know, on the spectrum. He's a specko. That feels a little out of pocket, but go on. So apparently now he's a gangbanger with the name Big D. He does gangbang pornos with the alias Big D. Nah, mate. He's in a gang, and his gang name is Big D. Well, then what does Big D stand for then? Dudley? Or Big Dick? I'm not really sure. Fair enough then. Anyways, Hazza, he's been having these nightmares about Seto getting unalived, and Specko Big Dick thinks this is well funny, doesn't he? He sounds like a psycho. Yeah, he is. But Hazza, he's not having any of that. So he pulls out his wand and he sticks it under his chin. I hope you're talking about his actual wand. Normally I probably would have said a cock joke here, but we're barely even started and there's already been about 10 of them. Can we go the rest of this video without another one? No way, mate. Anyways, right when Hazza's sweaty flesh-shaped wand touches Big D's chin, the bloody clouds turn black, don't they? And Specko, he thinks that Hazza has cast some sort of spell on him, doesn't he? He hasn't? Nah, mate, because he's not allowed to use magic outside of school, is he? Except for that other time he did, and the head of the ministry totally let him get away with it. And all those other times. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Hazza and Big D, they bloody leg it, don't they? And they take shelter in this creepy tunnel that I think is a full-scale replica of P. Diddy's basement. Gross. And you'll never get this right. Remember the Dementards from the third film? You mean Dementor. Yeah, them. They're bloody back, aren't they? Except they don't have cloaks this time. Really? So they have like different outfits. That's weird. Yeah, like who's making these cloaks for them? It opens up a lot of questions. Far too many. Let's just keep moving. Anyways, one of the Dementards grabs Hazza around the throat harder than Riley Reid in one of those fucked up choking videos, and Hazza, he tells Big D to leg it. Oh shit, then what happens? Well, Big D, he slips on some of P. Diddy's jizz and falls right over because he's fucking useless like that. And then the Dementard starts licking its tongue down his throat so far that it reaches his lower intestines. Gross. So then Hazza, he manages to reach his wand, doesn't he? And he's like, Inspecto my boner! And then he blasts some white hot jizz in their faces, and the Dementards, they bloody leg it, don't they? Come on, man, we've really got to try and start making these videos a little less gross. Nah, mate, that's never gonna happen. Anyways, an old lady named Mrs. Fig rocks up, and she tells Hazza not to put his wand away. Then she stares at it for like a really uncomfortable amount of time. Ugh. Also, Miss Fig, is she related to that old bloke from Hogwarts Legacy? You know what, I've never really put that together, but I reckon you're right. Anyways, she reckons Dumbledore sent her to watch over Hazza to make sure that nothing happens to him. Oh, you mean like two Dementors attacking him in a tunnel? Yeah, like that. But she didn't do anything. I know, mate, Dumbledore's plans always suck ass. Anyways, we cut back to the Dursleys' house, and Uncle Vernon, the guy that looks like he's always staring in two different directions all the time, well, he's pissed, isn't he? Because Dudley, he was already going to a school for special kids, but now he's not even smart enough to go there. Bit harsh, but go on. Well, next up, Hazza, he's trying to sleep, but he keeps seeing flashbacks of old mate Seto getting killed, doesn't he? Hang on, flashbacks? We're 2 minutes in and they're already using footage from the last film. I know, right? Super lazy. And then old mate Professor Moody walks in with a bunch of other cunts we've never heard of. Moody, but wasn't he bad? Nah, mate, that was French Hitler's son disguised as Moody. This is the real Moody. Do they ever actually explain that in the film to catch the audience up to speed? Nah, mate, they kind of expect you to have read the books at this point, which is well out of pocket because this book is like 2 billion pages. It can't be that long. It bloody felt like that, trust me. But you can't read. Fine, I'll listen to it on Audible on 3x speed. You got me, cunt. Anyways, they all barge into his room, which if you ask me is a little bit sus because he could have been having a crank and they didn't knock or anything. Yeah, that is true. That's pretty much the only thing teenage boys do when they're left alone. Exactly. Anyways, they drag him out of bed and tell him that the Ministry of Sound is putting him on trial for using magic outside of school. Won't they just let him off again like last time? Well, apparently not because they want the plot to happen. Anyways, then Moody calls one of the chicks a nympho and her pubic hair changes colour, and then they all hop on brooms and fly through the middle of London in plain sight. Isn't he already on trial for using magic in front of people? Oh no, mate, tons of people would have seen them. None of this makes any sense. And apparently they thought they'd make the only black guy in the film stick out even more by putting him in a full Nigerian robe. Oh yeah, that does seem a bit racist, but I guess it could be racist not to put him in the Nigerian robe as well. Yeah, I'm not really sure how any of this works anymore. So anyways, they get to where they're going and they sneak out of the bushes really carefully. Even though they weren't really careful at all, flying around on their brooms like bloody crack addicts. Let's not even try to understand that one. So Moody taps his staff on the ground and the bloody houses on the street start moving apart. And then you won't believe this, they reveal A bloody secret house. Is that the only way to get in? What if they don't have Moody's star? Yeah, no idea. That's never really explained. But get this, it isn't just any old house, is it? Bloody Arthur Weasley, Lupin, and SiriusBlack.com, they're there, aren't they? Is this some sort of secret meeting? Oh, you better believe it is, because Ronno's mum stops Hazard before he can say hi to them all and tells him to go upstairs and have a shower because he smells like a teenage boy's cum sock. Ouch. It's probably pretty accurate though. Yeah, I know. Anyways, you'll never guess who's upstairs, will you? Ronno and Hermo? Yeah, that's right. How'd you know? I mean, both Ron's mum and dad were there. It's pretty obvious, right? Yeah, true. Fuck off. But get this right, the next scene is super weird because Hermo, she just launches on Hazard as soon as he enters the room and gives him a big old bloody hug. Really? Was she just standing behind the door waiting for him or something? Yeah, it kind of looks like it. How did she even know he was there? Your guess is as good as mine. So she could have just been standing at that door for hours. Anyways, Ronno's there and he gets jealous because he knows he's a useless wanker and Hazard and Hermo have way better chemistry than him and her. Anyways, you're telling me. And then Hazard is like, what's up with this place?
This is the top secret hideout of the Order of the Three Dicks.
Order of the Three Dicks? What's that? Well, it's a secret society that bloody Dumbo's set up to fight Voldemort, the chemo patient, and his emo followers. Why does it need to be a secret? Doesn't everyone hate Voldemort? Yeah, good point. Anyways, apparently the adults won't let them hear what they're planning downstairs, so then the two twins rock up with a severed human ear, and they tell them that they've got a plan to overhear what they're saying. So they're just casually carrying around a human ear. Yeah, apparently they've gone like full Jeffrey Dahmer since we last saw them. Anyways, they try and use their ear to listen in on the old cunts. And then get this, they hear bloody Snape's voice. Oh, Snape-o. So he's a member of the Order of the Three Dicks. Yeah, apparently, and Hazard, he's pissed, right? Because Snape-o, he's always calling him a specky twat that will most likely die a virgin. I mean, he's not wrong though, right? Anyways, Crookshanks the cat steals the human ear and just fucking eats it right up. Jesus Christ. And they say once an animal has a taste for human flesh, you gotta bloody put him down. That would be dark, even for this franchise. Anyways, then Ronno's mum invites all the kids down for dinner, and then Fred and George stick their fingers up her bum. Gross. Yeah, it was a little bit cheeky, wasn't it? Anyways, everyone's gasbagging around the table, aren't they? And apparently that nympho chick can transfigure her face into a duck or something like that. Is that going to be important later? Nah, mate. I think she's only in the film for book nerds, and I skimmed the rest of the book and her story doesn't really fucking go anywhere. What a weird inclusion. Anyways, Lupin and Sirius bail up Hazard and they let him know that the Ministry is trying to slander him and Dumbo in the newspaper. Slander him? Like how? Well, that's just it, right? They're saying that both Hazard and Dumbo are into furry porn, and that Hazard, he lost his virginity to a fleshlight. And not like one of those regular kinds either, one of those weird green alien bumhole ones. That's too specific to have actually been what was said in the film. Well, it was heavily bloody implied, mate. So anyways, Sirius, he tells Hazard that old mate Voldemort has been recruiting new followers through LinkedIn. And the Order, they've been trying to do the same, but they're using seek.com, so they're way bloody behind. Yeah, that's never gonna work. Anyways, Sirius, he reckons that this time could be worse than the last time Voldy went on a rampage, because he's been hauled up in his mum's basement playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and snipering civilians on the street. And get this, he reckons Voldy's looking for something. Something he didn't have last time. Shit, like what? Like a weapon? Well, that's what Hazard says, right? He thinks maybe Putin and Voldemort are making nukes in Iran to start a proxy war with America. But then all the other parents tell Sirius to shut the hell up and go sit on a greasy fat one and not to bring up politics at the dinner table. Why would they do that? Well, because they think that Hazard is too young to be a member of the Order of the Three Dicks. But obviously, Sirius feels differently. He wants to make it the Order of the Four Dicks. Anyways, later that night, Hazard starts having nightmares about his trial at the Ministry. Creepy. What kind of nightmares? Well, that he turns up to the trial without his pants on and everyone laughs at his small dick. Oh yeah, that one's a classic. So next up, Hazard and Arthur Weasley are in the tube station, and Arthur, he looks like he's been snorting lines and DJing all night because he's acting weirder than Jim Carrey when he thought that he didn't exist.
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream?
It's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around together.
Okay.
Do they ever explain why he's acting so weird? Arthur or Jim Carrey? Arthur, mate. Oh, I think it's supposed to be funny because he doesn't know how to use Muggle technology, but it really just comes off as weird and a bit forced. Well, why are they taking the train to the Ministry anyways? Why not just apparate there or take the Flu Network? No idea. So anyways, they get there by going into a red phone booth which takes them underground all the way down to the Ministry. There are giant buildings underground, paper aeroplanes flying around for some reason, and there's all these fireplaces that are connected to the Flu Network. So they could have easily used the Flu Network then. Yeah, apparently. I think Arthur Weasley's been DJing so long on drugs that he now has the mental capacity of a 5-year-old kid who was dropped on his head as a baby. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyways, they walk past a newspaper stand where they're selling more papers featuring Hazard and his alien butthole fleshlight scandal. But then get this, Hazza, he sees a giant portrait of Cornelius Fudgepacker, the head of the Ministry of Sound, that kind of makes him look a little bit like Joseph Stalin.
Who?
You know, the Russian dictator.
You mean Hitler?
No, not Hitler. He was bloody Austrian. Stalin, he was a commie who used to kill people who questioned him. He would even erase them from old photographs so that people would think that they never existed.
Really? When was this?
I don't know. 1940s maybe? So Adobe Photoshop totally stole his idea. Those bastards. Mate, that's what you got from this story? Okay, fine, go on. Anyways, next up, they get into an elevator and old mate Kingsley's there, and he lets Hazza know that the ministry has changed the time of the hearing.
Really? When is it?
Only in 5 bloody minutes.
Shit.
I know, right? And this place is huge, so they have to bloody leg it to get there. Anyways, they make it there just on time, and Fudgepacker, he's there outside the hall, and you'll never guess who he's talking to.
Shaquille O'Neal?
What? Nah, mate, it's bloody Lucius Malfoy.
You mean the guy who was revealed to be a Death Eater in the last film, but it was totally obvious from his first scene in the franchise?
Yeah, that's him.
That's suspicious.
Very suspicious. Anyways, Arthur says to Hazza he can't come into the trial with him because apparently he just shelved a red Mitsubishi 2 hours earlier and he's about to shit himself.
Gross.
Yeah, I know. So now Hazza has to go in alone and he's in this huge room filled with dusty old bureaucrats and they look like they're about to serve him his nuts on bloody toast. But then get this. Old mate bloody Dumbo shows up, doesn't he?
Oh, nice. Gotta love Dumbo.
He's the best. Except for the whole raising Hazza for slaughter thing.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. What a cunt.
Anyways, Dumbo goes,
"What are the charges, Fudgepacker? Who are you calling Fudgepacker? You Fudgepacker!"
Well, what does that mean?
you know, because Dumbledore's gay.
That joke was a bit of a stretch.
Anyways, Fudgepacker, he's like,
Hazza Potter is to be sentenced to 14 years in prison. And not just any prison, the one from Prison Break. So it's going to be super hard to break out of.
Which season?
Season 3.
Good lord.
So then they start grilling Hazza, asking him about why he likes alien butthole fleshlights so much and why he was using magic outside of school.
Oh, you mean the same thing he let him get away with 2 movies ago?
Yeah, that's right. And then Hazza, he chirps up about the Dementards attacking him in the bloody tunnel. And everyone thinks he's smoking chuff because only the Ministry can control the Dementards.
Oh, the same ones that almost killed kids at Hogwarts and they totally lost control of?
Yeah, those ones. Anyways, Dumbo tries to get Fudgepacker to drop the shit and admit that Voldemort is bloody back.
If you don't have any witnesses, you bloody pelican, you're going straight to jail.
But then Dumbo, he's like,
Actually, we do. You can't.
He doesn't say cunt.
nah, he does. He says it like 40 times till they tell him to shut up and get on with it.
So who is the witness?
It's the little old lady Fig, isn't it?
Oh, snap. I almost forgot about her.
Anyway, she was gagging to see Hazza's sausage again, wasn't she? But her testimony only gets him off the bloody hook, doesn't it?
Nice one.
So Hazza, he's stoked, right? And he goes to thank Dumbledore for getting him off the hook. But then get this, Dumbo walks straight out there without even bloody looking at him.
What? Why?
Well, it's a bit of a bloody J.J. Abrams mystery box, isn't it, mate?
It better pay off better than Snoke did.
Oh, it does. Don't worry about that. Anyways, the next day, Moody, that nympho chick, and Sirius take him to King's Cross Station so that he can catch the train to Hoggies.
Well, if they're that worried about him, why don't they just take him all the way there?
Good point. No idea.
And isn't Sirius supposed to be in like hiding or something?
Well, yeah, that's why he transforms into a big black dog, doesn't he?
A big black what?
A dog, mate, not a bloody cock.
Ah, I thought you said... Never mind.
Anyways, he takes Hazza into a private room near the platform and turns back into a human to have a yak to him before he goes to school.
Wouldn't he be naked though?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would be like Hulk logic where his clothes tear off, but apparently the dog fur just kind of changes into some sort of flamboyant black robe.
Do they ever explain that?
You know they bloody don't, mate. Anyways, he gives Hazza a picture of Neville's tortured parents and his dead parents. And he's like,
We fought Voldemort when we were young. And now it's your turn, you little wanker.
Bit harsh?
yeah, I know. But he says it in like an old school aggressive father kind of way, so I think it's supposed to be reassuring.
Okay, I'm not even going to try and unpack that one, so what happens next?
Well, get this. Voldemort's bloody waiting for him on the platform of the station, isn't he?
Holy shit!
I know. And he's wearing this crazy black suit.
Like a magic suit?
Nah, it's just like a normal suit. I think he got it from Jack London on Special. That's weird. Well, Hazza wakes up on the train, doesn't he? Oh, so it was a dream? It's never addressed, so let's move right past that. Then, next up, Hazza, he gets to Hoggies, doesn't he? And bloody Malfoy's there, isn't he? And he's seen those newspapers about Potter sticking his chicken noodle into an alien butthole fleshlight thing, so him, Crabbe and Goyle are laughing up a storm. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah, exactly. And Potter denies it, but as he's walking away, a fleshlight falls out of his bag, except it's one of those even weirder ones with fur on it. Busted. And then instead of walking or catching those weird boat things to school, they have to catch these carriages that are towed by invisible horses. Why has the school decided to change that all of a sudden? No idea, but get this, Hazza, he's the only one that can bloody see the horses, can't he? So everyone thinks he's smoking chuff again. Well, is he? Nah, mate, because this chick called Luna Lovehole, she can bloody see him too, can't she? Well, there you go. He's not crazy then. Yeah, but then her credibility is immediately shattered when it's revealed she's reading her magazine upside down, and she has the kind of look in her eyes that makes her look like the kind of person who would write their name in human shit on an asylum wall. Gross. Anyways, next up we cut to old mate Dumbo, and he's giving the Hoggies students their yearly welcome. But get this, there's a new defense against the dark arts teacher, isn't there? Professor Cuntbridge. Sounds like a cunt. Oh, you better believe she is. And then she gives this super long and boring speech about respect and sticking to the rules, and everyone just tunes out and starts doom scrolling on their phones. But then Hazza, he's like, well, what the fuck was that all about? And Hermo, she goes,
it means the ministry is interfering at Hogwarts, you stupid wanker.
So the villain of this film is like, bureaucracy? Yeah, pretty much. That sounds pretty boring. Yeah, it is a bit. Anyways, then Hazza goes back to the common room, and get this, everyone's reading those bloody newspapers about Hazza being a lying little twat who makes love to alien bumholes. And Seamus Finnegan, he's leaked his mum's old OnlyFans account, hasn't he? Ouch. Got him. I know, right? And then Seamus, he jumps in and he's like,
oh, potatoes, potatoes. My mother didn't want me to come back to school this year.
You know, because he's been lying about Voldemort more than that Jesse Smollett guy lied about being lynched by a pack of Nazis. Can't you come up with some new references? That one's a bit out of date. No, piss off. And then Ron steps in and he's like, oi, back off, Seamus, you Irish potato-dicked cunt. Anyone else got a problem with Hazza? Because I'll fucking stab ya. That's a bit much, but at least Ron did something for a change. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, then Ron tries to cheer him up after the massive spit roasting he got downstairs, and then Hazza's like, oh, piss off, Ron. If I need advice from someone with Pokemon Fire Red pubes, I'd ask for it. Harsh, but that's a fair point, so what happens next? Well, Hazza has another bloody bad dream, doesn't he? Except this time, he's slithering around in the dark in the hallways like he's a snake or something. And then he sees some big white balls. What the fuck? You mean like magic balls, right? Nah, mate, big hairy ones, like our old gym teacher used to have. Wait, why have you seen his balls? Because we went to a Catholic school. Anyways, we cut to their first class with Dolores Umbridge, don't we? And she doesn't want any of the kids to use magic at all. She just wants them to study from dusty old books. Well, how are they supposed to learn how to defend themselves against dark magic then? Well, that's exactly what Hazza says, doesn't he? And then she's like,
oh, sit down, Mr. Potter. I don't like the sound of your whiny voice, and I don't want to hear you again until your testicles have descended and you have at least one more pubic hair.
She could be waiting a while for that. I know, right? Anyways, Hazza, he goes, listen here, you smelly vagina. I saw Voldemort kill Cedric right in front of my eyes. He shit himself when he died. Which is a real thing, apparently. I know, we've been over this, mate. So what does she say to that? She only gives him bloody detention, doesn't she? What a cunt. I know, right? So anyways, after class, she invites Hazza into her small pink pussy room. What? Nah, mate, it's a small room filled with portraits of pussycats on the walls. I can see how you made that mistake though. I'm not really sure why I phrased it that way. Anyways, she wants him to snort lines for detention, but get this. She gives him this magic pen, and when he writes with it, it cuts the words into the back of his hand. Oh, shit, what does it say? I will not tell lies. Ah, because she thinks he's lying about Voldemort. Yeah, exactly. It also says that he's a specky little twat. I guess she's got him there. Anyways, Hermo, she sees the scars on the back of Hazza's hands afterwards, doesn't she? And she's like,
oh my god, you have to tell Dumbledore, Harry.
And then Hazza, he's like, oh, shut up, Hermione. You know that Dumbledore's not available after hours? She's right though, Harry.
This is well wrong. What would the parents think if they knew about this? And then Hazza, he snaps back again and he's like, well, I haven't got any of those, have I, Ron? Why is he being mean to the only kids at school who like him again? I think the original title for the film was Harry Potter the Whiny Little Bitch. Oh, that makes more sense then. Anyways, we also see Fred and George have set up some sort of magical joke store in the bathrooms, and they're testing their products on helpless kids, just like Fauci does with helpless puppies. What a cunt. And get this, one kid's neck swells up worse than that kid down the road who's allergic to peanut butter. Isn't that kid dead now? Maybe? He seemed fine last time I saw him. I even gave him a bite of my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Anyways, Hazza writes a letter to Sirius, and he tells him about how lonely he feels, because he isn't talking to the only people who actually want to be friends with him. Because of reasons, I guess? And then he walks into the middle of the Forbidden Forest, where he meets Luna Love You Long Time. What are they both doing in a dangerous forest alone and unsupervised? Yeah, no idea. This school almost feels like it was designed by Jigsaw from the Saw franchise, because at every corner it's actively trying to kill you. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense actually. What house would Jigsaw have been in? Slytherin, obviously, dickhead. Anyways, Luna, she's talking to one of those invisible horse things Hazza saw before, and she tells him that they can only be seen by people who have witnessed death. You know, because he saw Seto shit his pants at the end of the last film. What about his parents' deaths? Or Quirrell in the first film? Or Barty Crouch's dead body? Yeah, I think JK forgot she wrote any of that because now this is happening. But get this. Luna, Love You Long Time, she says that she believes Hazza as well, and that her dad, who owns a newspaper that no one bloody reads, he does as well. Oh, she's nice, this Luna chick, isn't she? Yeah, but then she tells Hazza that if she was Voldemort, she'd do the exact same thing. Turn all the kids at school against him, so he cries alone in his bed at night and pisses his sheets from the nightmare. Jesus Christ! And then she pulls some raw meat out of her pocket and throws it to the Thestrals. Okay, I take that back. I think she might be the Zodiac Killer. You're damn right, mate. Anyways, we cut to Ronno deep-throating a massive sausage in the Great Hall. What? Nah, mate, he's eating a sausage, isn't he? Anyways, all the kids in the Great Hall overhear McGonagall and Professor Cuntbridge fighting, don't they? Oh, snap. What are they arguing about? Well, McGonagall, she's like,
now listen here, you prudish little bitch. I do not have to listen to you. Not in my own school.
I like McGonagall. She's a badass. I know, right? But Cuntbridge, she isn't having that. So she's like,
well, this school is far more povo than I thought it was. You will all grow up to work at Target, but not like even the front-facing employees, those really hideous and deformed ones they have out the back.
That's a bit harsh. What's she got against Target? No idea, but she really hates that place. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Anyways, then we have this huge montage where she teams up with that bloke Filch, you know, the one who likes to bum his cat, and plot to kill all the Starks at the Red Wedding. Well, they start nailing all these new rules to the wall, and then old mate Fudgepacker, he makes her the High Bloody Inquisitor, doesn't he? Oh shit, not a High Inquisitor. What is a High Inquisitor? No idea, mate. Anyways, the montage continues and we get lots of newspaper articles to fill in plot holes from the book where the writers couldn't be fucked putting them into the movie. And then we see her conducting a school choir with Professor Flitwick for some reason, but get this, she measures his height and then docks him points for being too short. Wait, Warwick Davis's only part in this film was just to do a complicated height joke. Yeah, mate, I think he sued Warner Brothers after this movie. Anyways, the montage finishes with Professor Trelawney and Cuntbridge in the front courtyard, and all the kids are gathered round like the two old women are gonna start mud wrestling in bikinis. Ugh, they don't show that, do they? Nah, mate, but Cuntbridge, she's only bloody firing Trelawney, isn't she? Because none of her predictions ever come true and hiring her was a waste of wizard taxpayer money? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I know, but the movie kind of wants us to feel sorry for her for some reason. And get this, even Hermo, who doesn't even bloody like her, she feels sorry for her too, because Hogwarts is actually her home as well. Well, if Hermione is sad, then I guess I am too. She's pretty smart. Then McGonagall rocks up, and she looks like she's gonna do a Kaioken Kamehameha right in Cuntbridge's stupid face when old mate Dumbo comes charging out the front door too. Oh shit, Cuntbridge is in trouble now. You bloody know it, mate. So Dumbo, he's like,
the minister may have given you powers to dismiss my employees, but he has not given you permission to tell me who I can and can't have in my fucking school.
You
old cum dumpster.
Got her. Then Dumbo whips round and walks back inside, and Hazza, he tries to bloody talk to him again, doesn't he? What does he say? Nothing. Dumbo just totally ghosts him, just like he does all those blokes on Grindr he's been banging. What a bastard. Anyways, he yells at the kids, and he's like,
Back in class, you little cunts. Don't you all have some studying to do?
what a bastard. Oh yeah, big time. Then Hermo, she's up late with Hazza and Rono, having a massive whinge. About Dumbledore? Nah, about Cuntbridge. Ah, right. And she's like,
That stupid wench! I bet she walks around with a bent dildo up her snatch just to maintain that stupid scowl on her face.
ouch.
We're never going to pass the owl exams with her around. She's taking over this school the way cancer took over Rum's mum's left titty.
Ouch again. I know, right? Then get this. Old mate Fudgepacker makes an announcement on an old radio they've conveniently had on in the background, and the announcement is about people who are going disappearing. So the students only listen to the radio when crucial plot information needs to be said. Oh, you bloody know it, mate. Anyways, Fudge is like,
We have reports that say the disappearances are the work of SiriusBlack.com. He's taking people and putting them in an underground sex dungeon, just like Bill Cosby.
oh shit, they don't believe him, do they? Oh, of course not. Fudgepacker is a wanker. But the public doesn't know that, do they? And you'll never believe who appears in the fireplace to talk to Hazza right after that, will ya? Is it Sirius? I mean, he's the only one who's talked to Hazza in that fireplace before. Yeah, that's right. What are the chances that he'd contact them right as they're talking about him on the radio? 1,000,000,000 to 1, I reckon. Anyways, his fireplace face has changed because it looked so shit in the last film, and they wasted enough money on it to feed half of Uganda. Except this time, it looks even shitter. Oh. Great. On the plus side though, this effect does look cheaper, so I guess some Warner Brothers exec got a big fat bonus that year. Whoopee. Come on mate, what does he say? Oh yeah, well he tells them that it's Voldemort who's making people disappear, doesn't he? For fuck's sake, is that all? We've already figured that part out. I know, he's bloody useless. Anyways, Hermo, she turns to the window dramatically, you know, because Emma Watson plays everything dramatically in this series, and then lightning cracks in the sky, and she's like,
Well, if that smelly yeast infection Umbridge won't teach us how to defend ourselves, I guess we'll have to find someone who can.
oh shit, who is she talking about? Well, that's the thing, she never fucking says, does she? But she stares super hard at Hazza after that. Harder than a 30-year-old single bloke stares at xhamster.com when he's feeling lonely. Shit, that's pretty hard. So you reckon she's talking about him? Of course she is, you bloody pelican. Anyways, Hazza, Hermo and Rono trek to Hogsmeade in the snow, don't they? And they go to this seedy, out-of-the-way pub that only has one bloke and a goat in it. What was he doing with the goat? Trust me, you do not want to know that, mate. Anyways, Hermo, she's gathered a bunch of kids from school there for a secret meeting. Why has she done that? Well, because she wants Hazza to teach them how to defend themselves. Oh, you mean the kid who only uses Expelliarmus and has had someone else bail him out of trouble every year? Yeah, that's the one. Anyways, one of the kids, who doesn't even have a name, he chimes in and he's like,
He's gonna teach us? He doesn't even look like he knows how to tie his own shoelaces.
I mean, if he dropped his glasses, he probably couldn't. Yeah, true. Anyways, Rono chirps in and he's like, Shut the hell up, kid. I saw Hazza punch Voldemort right in the end of his cock once. It made his nose fall right off his bloody face. But then Hazza, he chimes in all humble like, Listen, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I have beaten Voldemort like 3 times now, even if it was mostly luck. So, I can teach you how to punch someone in the dick really hard as well. I'll demonstrate on Ron right now.
Oh, I could have figured that out for myself. Shut it, mate. How would you like me to cut your dick right off?
So much talk about dicks. So what happens next? Well, everyone in the pub starts writing their names down on a list, don't they? Why? No idea. Maybe the director of the film saw that Schindler's List got all those awards, so they put a list in this film as well. That is not why that film got an award. Shut up. Anyways, next up, Hazza, Hermo, Rono, and Neville, are walking down that twisted bridge thing, talking about where they're gonna hold their secret meetings. Also, Fred and George are there too. And then Hermo, she starts laughing and she looks like she's just shelved a tabby of pure MDMA. And she's like,
Sort of exciting, isn't it? Breaking the rules. Fuck, I'm hungry. Are you guys hungry? Who wants to go dancing?
Man, she really is pinging. I know, right? And then Ronno, he goes, who are you and what have you done with fucking Hermione Granger? Then she starts chewing her face off and listening to EDM for 16 hours straight before drinking 6 litres of Gatorade. Typical. Sounds like your Uncle Terry. He died the way he lived. Anyways, then she tells Hazza that Cho Chang was leaking from the gash back in the pub when she was looking at Hazza. And she leaked so much that Hermo had to move her foot because it was leaking into her shoes and making her socks smell like a wet tuna fish sandwich. Gross. Get this right, Cuntbridge must have cottoned onto their little scheme, so she makes a rule about students not being able to hold meetings after hours. What a cunt. I know, right? Then Neville Longballs, he sees a magic door appear out of the bloody wall. So did Hagrid spike the drinking water again? Oh yeah, mate, of course he did. But the room, it's real too. Apparently it's called the Room of Requirement. It appears whenever someone at Hoggies is in dire need of taking a piss. So it's a bathroom. Yeah, but it's like one of those bathrooms on old school Chinese trains. It just has a messy hole cut in the floor covered in shit. But Hazza also reckons they can turn it into a secret dark arts training room. A secret meeting place only they can find. That's very convenient. Oh, you better believe it, mate. Anyways, Hazza reckons Hoggies itself wants to help them fight back because it's giving them the room. But then Hermo reminds him that Hagrid spiked the drinking water, so he shuts the fuck right up. Poor Hazza, that come down is going to be epic. Anyways, we get another montage. Another one? How much of this film is going to be told through montages? I think it's about 90% of the plot. It's basically a musical. For fuck's sake, go on then. Anyways, it keeps cutting between Hazza training the kids who want to rebel against Cuntbridge and Filch who's trying to find the Room of Requirement. Oh shit, how does he know they're using that? No idea. Anyways, we see Neville failing a spell and then accidentally killing 16 students. Holy crap, but don't worry, he succeeds later in the montage and then about 18 chicks offer to suck his long balls. Good for him. Oh yeah, and Cuntbridge gets sick of Filch trying to find them because he's always bumming his cat, so she promotes Malfoy and his mates to be her disciples. Disciples? Like the ones Jesus had? Yeah, I think so. Except Malfoy and his mates don't get her crucified. I think it was only one disciple that got him crucified. I don't know, mate. I never fucking read that shit. Anyways, the montage finally fucking ends after what seems like about 62 hours, and all the kids are way better at defensive spells now, aren't they? Well, that was way easier than just watching them actually progress in real time, wasn't it? I know, right? Super lazy writing. Anyways, then everyone applauds Harry like he's just given a TED talk or something, and then everyone leaves so he can be alone with Cho bloody Chang. Cho Chang? That sounds like a made up name. I mean, technically they're all made up, but yeah, it's a pretty weird name to be giving the only Asian girl at school. Anyways, next up there's a super painful scene where Cho and Hazza flirt, but Cho, she keeps on checking out this picture of her ex-dead boyfriend that's stuck to the wall right next to her. And who was that? Remember how there was that one throwaway shot where she went to the ball with Seto in the last film? You know, the guy who plays Edo the pedo in Twilight? Yeah, I think I remember now. Yeah, well apparently they dated and it was supposed to be a big deal, even though this is the first time we're hearing about it. I smell lazy writing again. You better believe it. Anyway, she keeps looking at a photo of her dead boyfriend, unsure of whether or not she wants to date Hazza, but then Hazza, he gets so horny, so he tries to bloody kiss her right there and then. In front of the photo of her dead ex-boyfriend, what the fuck? Yeah, apparently that's Hazza's like weird fetish. He likes chicks who have dead ex-boyfriends and have the photo stuck up on the wall right next to them. And Hazza, he's worried that it might be filled with nargles. And what are those? Well, that's what she bloody says. But then she gets on her knees and she's like, let me gobble those balls. Gross. This is a pretty messed up scene, what with the photo of the dead ex and all. Yeah, JK was in a dark place when she wrote this scene. Anyways, Hazza is bragging to Ronno and Hermo about it, and then Ronno asks how it was, and apparently after Hazza kissed her, she just kind of started crying. Yeah, I had that happen to me once too. It was really weird. With that face, I'm not fucking surprised, mate. Anyways, Hermo reckons she has confused feelings about her ex, Seto. Way to point out the obvious. Yeah, it's a really pointless scene. And then they all start laughing for no reason at all. So what happens next? Well, Hazza has another bloody dream, doesn't he? Where he's looking through someone else's eyes and he starts slithering around like a snake. Except this time, he sees Arthur Weasley standing in the dark, stroking his little snake. Gross. But get this, Hazard starts fucking biting him, doesn't he? Jesus Christ! I know, right? And the next thing we know, McGonagall and Ronno are walking Hazard to Dumbledore's office in his PJs because he's pissed his bed because he was so bloody scared. They didn't have him change his pants first? Nah, they just rubbed his face in it like they used to do the dogs for toilet training. How was that ever gonna work? No idea, it's fucking cruel though, those bastards. Anyways, Dumbo, he wants to know all about the dream, and he's asking really specific questions, like when he saw Arthur get attacked, was he standing next to him, or was he looking through the eyes of the snake, like one of those POV videos on Wizard Hub? Gross. So what does he say? Well, Hazard tells him it was like a POV BJ video, and then Dumbledore starts talking to people in bloody paintings and telling them to go and find Arthur. What? Well, remember how those paintings can talk in Hogwarts? Well, apparently they can interact with the real world now. Is that ever explained? Of course not. Anyways, this whole scene, Dumbo has had his back to Hazard, and he's still not bloody looking at him, is he? What? That's so weird. Why not? He finally snaps, and he's like, "Fucking look at me, you wanker!" Oh shit. What does Dumbo say? Bloody nothing, because right as he finally looks at Hazard, Snapo rocks up. And he's like,
You summoned me, you senile old fool.
and then Dumbo's like,
Severus, we've run out of time. We need to start tonight.
start what? Am I missing something? Well, that's just it, right? Snapo walks Hazard down to the dungeons, and he tells Hazard that him and Voldemort's minds are now connected. Kinda like those Siamese twins that shared a head but only had two bodies. Those poor bastards. So get this, all those bloody dreams he's been having, they aren't bloody dreams, are they? Hazard has been looking into Voldemort's thoughts. Oh shit, does that mean that he can see what Hazard is seeing and thinking too? Now you're bloody catching on. I always defend you when people say you sound like someone who was dropped on your head as a baby. Who says that? Anyway, Snapo, he says that he's going to teach Hazard Occlumency, and then he is going to penetrate him. He what? Nah, mate, penetrate his mind, not his bloody asshole. Occlumency is a skill to stop people reading your mind. Jeez. Everything's always sexual with you, isn't it? With me! Anyways, Snapo starts reading his mind, and we get flashes of all the things we've seen so far in this movie, which feels a little bit lazy just to be showing the same footage over and over again, but I guess they had to save money somehow, so there you go. And get this, he sees Voldemort in that weird suit again. Ah, shit. Are we ever going to find out where he got that suit? No, they never explain it or bring it up ever again. And why even show it in the first place? No idea. So then we jump to Christmas dinner, right? And Arthur is sitting at the head of the table, surrounded by his family. And he looks pretty rough. Like he was bitten repeatedly by a giant snake. Yeah, exactly, mate. Anyways, Arthur, he thanks Hazard for saving his life, and then they all have dinner together in Sirius's secret house, where they have the Order of the Three Dicks meeting. Wait, if Voldemort can see into Harry's mind, wouldn't having Harry round to your secret headquarters be like the last thing you'd want to do? Yeah, but remember that this Order of the Three Dicks, it's run by Dumbledore, and he's a massive chuffhead, whose plans never make any fucking sense. Alright, fair enough. Anyways, Hazard goes into a weird room where Sirius Black's family tree is painted all over the walls. And get this, there's this little Esche in there cleaning up, and he's like, "Give us your wallet, you dog. I want to get a chocolate dick shape from Macca's." What's the deal with that thing? Why keep it around if it clearly hates everyone? Yeah, no idea. Anyways, Sirius tells him to go piss off and stick a crooked dildo up his ass. Ouch. Then he tells Hazard that he hated his family, you know, because they were all cunts and they supported Voldemort. And then we see on the wall that apparently he's related to none other than Bellatrix Lestrange. Who is that? Well, yeah, exactly. It's played like a big reveal here, but if you've only watched the movies, you have no idea who that is, so it really just comes off as bad writing. Yeah, I feel like that's happening more than usual in this film. Anyways, Hazard is getting worried he might be losing his mind, what with all the serial killer style dreams he's been having lately. Then Sirius, he's like,
Oh, shut up, Harry, you whiny little bitch. You're a good bloke. Also, even though we've only spoken like twice now, I want us to be a family.
That seems a bit forced. Oh yeah, big time. The writers forgot they needed to build to an emotional payoff later in this film, so then they threw in this line at the last minute. Anyways, apparently they only came here just for dinner, and then Hermo totally kills the mood and tells them that they have to go back to Hoggies. So was that all they did on their school break? Have one dinner with Ron's dad? Yeah, apparently. Also, it's no longer winter anymore, so either it was a really long dinner or the trip back to Hoggies took months. Let me guess, they never explained that. Nah, mate, never. Anyways, they find out Hagrid is back, don't they? Which honestly, I totally forgot he was even gone and had to rewind the film to find that one line that was almost set off camera to indicate his absence. And Hagrid, his face looks worse than that woman's neck after Ezra Miller choked her out in public and still got to star in that Flash movie afterwards.
Fuck, man. I don't know about that joke.
Yeah, it was a little murky. Just to clarify, violence against women is bad, and Ezra Miller, he's 100% a cunt.
Yeah, well that's better. Also, doesn't he go by they now, not him?
You're honestly trying to spare the feelings of a guy who kidnapped a teenage girl and choked out a helpless woman on the street.
Yeah, that's fair. Fuck him.
So anyways, they all run straight for his shack, but turns out Cuntbridge is already there, isn't she?
Because he has underage kids in his shack after hours and drugs the water supply.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, she tells him not to unpack because she wants to fire his giant hairy ass. And then he tells Hermo, Hazard and Ron all about where he's been.
This should be good.
Yeah, you'd think that, but it's really not. He tells them that Dumbo sent him to try and talk to the giants.
Can giants even talk?
Yeah, none of that's ever explained, so don't worry about it. Turns out Dumbo, he wants to recruit them before Voldy can. But it didn't go so well, did it?
So they smashed up his face worse than Russell Crowe used to smash up hotel rooms.
Anyways, they look out the window dramatically just like Emma Watson did before, and he tells them, "A ruddy storm is coming in it." Which is super obvious, but I feel like the director just really fought hard for that shot, so here we are.
What's with him and storms? I feel like it's supposed to be a metaphor or something.
Yeah, but it's so heavy-handed that I don't really think he understands how metaphors work.
Yeah, me either.
Oh yeah, and when they're staring out the window at that super obvious non-metaphorical storm, we see a smash in the window from when Hermo threw a rock through it in the Prisoner of Azkaban.
What, so Hagrid has been sleeping in the hut with a broken window for like 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, Dumbledore visits him all the time, so I feel like he could have easily fixed it with magic, but he just hasn't.
What a cunt.
I know, right? Anyways, we cut to that chick who SiriusBlack.com is apparently related to, and her tattoo starts jiggling harder than a 40-year-old single woman's vibrator, and then get this. Someone's only bloody blown a hole in the side of Azkaban prison, haven't they? And then everyone fucking breaks out.
Isn't the prison in the middle of the ocean and surrounded by Dementards?
Yeah, it is. They skipped that crucial detail, surprisingly.
Yeah, of course they do.
Anyways, the newspapers and Fudge Packer, well, they try to pin the breakout on SiriusBlack.com, don't they?
Because he's related to her and he's the only guy to ever break out of Azkaban?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not like that's a totally unreasonable claim.
Yeah, I know, but the movie wants us to think it's outrageous for thinking that or something. Anyways, the Dick Eaters have all broken out of prison and people are starting to believe Hazard now, aren't they?
You mean Death Eaters?
Yeah, that's the one. And get this, old mate Potato Finnegan, he steps up and he's like,
"Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. I'm bloody sorry, Potter."
Oh, that's nice of him. It's not easy to admit when you're wrong.
Yeah, I know, but I was distracted by his tiny tie. Like, what the hell's going on with that?
Why is it like that?
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. Anyways, we cut to Hazard and Neville talking in the room of requirement, and he says that his mum and dad were tortured by Bellatrix Lestrange, and they were never the same afterwards.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, apparently they found them drooling from the mouth, dressed in black leather with red balls in their mouth, and his dad had electrodes on his nutsack.
I mean, I feel bad for Neville, but kind of just sounded like his parents were BDSM swingers or something.
Yeah, I know, right? Next up, Hazard is teaching all the loser kids spells again, asking them to think of happy memories. So Fred and George start thinking about that pair of twins they saw on OnlyFans, and Ginny, she's the first to produce a Patronus because she's thinking about pushing Cho Chang down a flight of stairs and stealing Hazard all for herself.
Jesus Christ.
I reckon Ginny's got more issues than Ronno, to be honest. But get this, the whole scene I kept getting distracted by the fact that this room has multiple pillars, but none of them even touch the bloody ground.
Yeah, that is weird. Why are they even there? Are they structural or ornamental? Like, what's holding up the roof?
No idea, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like I'm losing my fragile grip on this reality. Anyways, by the end of the lesson, everyone's bloody nailing the Patronus charm, aren't they? And then get this, everyone stops and shits their pants when it sounds like there's explosions outside the room of requirement.
Oh shit, is there a suicide bomber at Hogwarts?
What? Nah mate, it's bloody Cuntbridge and Malfoy. They've found the room and they're blasting through the wall to get to everyone.
I thought they already found the room though. Wasn't Filch camping out the front of it before eating a sandwich?
Yeah, he was.
So why did they wait till now to blow the walls down?
Yeah, good point. No fucking clue. Anyways, Cuntbridge takes Hazard up to Dumbledore's office, and you'll never guess who's there.
Timothy Charlemagne?
What?
I don't know, he's in everything nowadays.
Nah, mate, it's bloody Fudge Packer. him and Cuntbridge want to arrest old mate Dumbo. On what charges? Well, that's just it, right? Remember the piece of random paper that the kids were all signing at the pub and that guy was fucking his goat in the furry asshole? Yeah. Well, it's titled Dumbledore's Army. So they're trying to pin it on Dumbo by saying he's trying to build an army to overthrow the Ministry of Sound and give Fudgepacker a well-deserved swift kick in the balls. Oh shit. So Hazza owns up, right? Yeah, mate, but Dumbo, he's not having it. He takes the rap for Hazza's stupid plan, and Fudgepacker demands they arrest him right there on the spot and take him to Arse Gang Bang Prison. Things are getting exciting. And Dumbo's like,
I think you're mistaken, you fudge-packing wanker. You were under the impression that I was going to come quietly.
damn, so he's gonna flee the police like O.J. Simpson. Except he didn't murder his wife and then get away with it, and then do these super weird social media posts thinking that the world gave a shit about his opinion.
Hey Twitter world, this is yours truly. Hello Twitter world, this is yours truly. Hey Twitter world, it's me, yours truly.
Yeah, he didn't really read the room on that one. So Dumbo, he whistles for old mate Fawkes the Phoenix, and then he does this weird K-pop dance move and bursts into fucking flames and just disappears. Shit, is he dead? No, I don't think so. But remember Kingsley, the only black guy in this movie? He's like,
Damn, Dumbledore's got style, motherfucker.
there's no way he says that. That's racist. Well, it was heavily implied, mate. Anyways, next up we see Filch climbing this crazy high ladder, trying to nail one more thing to the wall. What is it? It's a poster saying that Cuntbridge is now the bloody headmaster of Hogwarts. I feel like it might have been better for everyone if Hazard just took the fall instead of Dumbledore, right? Yeah, I know, right? But Dumbledore's plans, they kind of make less sense than those guys that pay money for AI influencers' OnlyFans accounts. So now this is happening. Anyways, now she has full control of the school and she starts making up any bloody rule she wants. Like what? Well, apparently boys and girls have to stand 8 inches or more apart at all times because she knows that none of the blokes at this school have a penis bigger than that. Where in the hell would she even get that information? Well, they're the ministry. They know everything. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyways, Filch, he's loving this new power trip, so he starts taking down all those moving portraits you see on the walls and then just shaking the people out of them. What's he doing with them? Well, he's kind of just emptying them out of their frames, which I think technically is killing them. Yeah, I mean, the previous scene where Dumbledore was talking to them kind of proves that they're sentient beings capable of thought and reason, so it's definitely murder, right? Yeah, it's pretty dark, but it's played off like a joke, so we aren't supposed to think about that too much. Sounds like lazy writing. Oh, you better believe it is. We cut to Cuntbridge's class where everyone is writing in silence because she's controlling everyone by making them write with those magic pens that cut words into the back of your hand. There is no way that at least one of the kids didn't write home to their parents or call the police about that. Apparently not, but get this. She's loving this power trip so much that she has a full-on hardcore orgasm up in front of the class. And she makes everyone watch, which is super creepy. Gross. Also, why is she still teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts if she's principal now? Yeah, no idea. They breeze right over that one. Anyways, we cut to Hazza, and he's being all emo, saying that he's never going to feel happiness ever again, and that he's pretty sure free will is a biological illusion. Holy shit, that's dark. I know, and to make things worse, he's kind of standing on the edge of a bridge while he's saying all of this, and Ronno and Hermo, they're kind of just standing back and unsure whether or not he's actually going to jump off or not. Do they try and stop him? Nah, mate, they just stand there awkwardly, don't they? Bloody pelicans. Then, just when it looks like Hazza is going to become another dark statistic of male loneliness, old mate Hagrid rocks up, and it turns out he's been spying on them the whole time. How does a giant sneak up on someone? Also, why is he even hiding? Mate, you know they're never going to explain that. Anyways, he takes them to the Forbidden Forest, you know, the one with all the dangerous creatures that could easily kill students. And then he tells them that the centaurs have gone bloody mental, and they're even more dangerous than usual. Why did he take them there to say that? Almost feels like he's trying to get them killed. Yeah, I know, right? Anyways, he says he's been fired from Hoggies, which the movie wants us to feel sad about, but honestly, I reckon it's probably for the best. Yeah, I mean, I've lost count of all the illegal things he's done now. Anyways, turns out this isn't the reason he brought them to the incredibly dangerous forest, is it? He takes them to see a giant named Grawp. I thought he was a giant. Half giant, dickhead. Anyways, Grawp, he's only his bloody brother, isn't he? Hang on. What? Yeah, no, it comes from bloody nowhere. Anyways, Hagrid, he's saying he's harmless, right? Even though we saw him try and kill small animals like a childhood psychopath when they rocked up. Why are they friends with Hagrid again? Yeah, no idea. So he says now that he's been fired from Hoggies for what I think are totally legitimate reasons, he needs someone to look after Grawp. Why can't he take him with him? He managed to get him there by himself. Yeah, it's super unclear. I guess he just can't be fucked, so he dumps all his problems on 3 underage kids like usual. Anyways, Grawp, he grabs Hermo and he lifts her up into the air, which probably would have crushed her bones and organs into a fine paste, but she's like,
Group, put me down right now, or I'll turn your balls into bean sprouts.
Ouch, right? Anyways, he bloody loves it when women talk back to him, doesn't he? So he cracks a massive fat one. And Ronno, he's weirdly jealous, because in his small ginger brain, he thinks that Hermo might actually make out with a baby giant with the IQ of a 5-year-old. Yeah, Ron is pretty insecure, isn't he? Oh, definitely. It's why he's constantly negging her to lower her self-confidence so that she'll actually go out with him. He's a terrible person. Anyways, we cut to Hazza, and he's only looking into the mirror of Erised, isn't he? What's that? First film that can show you whatever you desire? Well, Hazza, he's watching some tentacle hentai. And old mate Snape rocks up, doesn't he? What's he doing there? Well, turns out this is all happening in Hazza's bloody head, isn't it? Then we cut to Hazza and Snape'o doing Occlumency training again. Oh, snap, that's not a bad reveal. Yeah, and Hazza is like, you can't see that, it's private.
Well, Potter, perhaps you should invest in a VPN so that people can't see your tentacle perversions and sell your data to the highest bidder.
This feels like an ad. Are we doing an ad right now? Fuck. We probably could have had a sponsor there, actually. The rule is you're not a real YouTuber till you've had a VPN sponsor, right? I guess not. Anyways, Snape'o, he's really tucking into Hazza, calling him a beta male and saying that his dad was a sweaty little cunt. But Hazza, he's like, my father was a great man.
Your father was a cuck, and he had one of those inflatable waifu bath pillows.
And this makes Hazza snap, right? Even though he probably has one of those pillows himself. So, he shouts, Protego, which bounces the spell right back on bloody Snape'o. And now we see all of his memories inside of his head. Shit, what do we see? Well, there's a lot of masturbating alone and crying while listening to the Backstreet Boys. Gross. Yeah, but other than that, we see a memory of Snape'o getting bullied by none other than Hazza's father. So Snape was the beta male. Yeah, looks like it, mate. But Hazza's dad, I'm pretty sure he still had one of those bath pillows. Why are you so obsessed with those bath pillows? Shut up. Anyway, Snape'o, he fights off the spell, and then he says that there won't be any classes anymore. And then he tells Hazza to piss off and go sit on a greasy fat one. Damn, how's he gonna fight Voldemort now? No idea. So Hazza, he's gutted now that he's found out that his dad was a massive cunt. But get this, he overhears Fred and George trying to cheer up some kid who was tortured by Cuntbridge. Don't worry, little man. We're planning on taking care of that human yeast infection once and for all. They aren't going to shoot up the school or anything, are they? I mean, technically no, but you're not far off, mate. Anyways, the next day, they're doing their bloody owl exams, aren't they? Which feels like an unnecessary subplot we probably could have done without. Yeah, that is true. Right? And they're doing it in the Great Hall, aren't they? Which feels like one of the only sets they've built for this franchise, because they literally do everything in this bloody room. I never thought about that, but I guess you're right. They're always in the Great Hall. Yeah, it's weird. Anyways, some loud noises distract everyone from their exams, and then Cuntbridge, she's pissed that her peace and quiet has been disturbed, so she goes to investigate. But right as she does, bloody fireworks burst through the front door, and they start fucking up the place and exploding everywhere. Jesus Christ, was this Fred and George? You better believe it. And they fly in on their brooms, and they start throwing more bloody fireworks, don't they? What if some of them hit the other kids? But you won't believe this, right? 3 of the fireworks burn Crabbe and Goyle's nose, and another one makes Malfoy run away and piss his pants. Okay, I guess that's funny, but innocent kids are still getting exploded by fireworks, yeah? Oh yeah, big time. It's like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan. It's a horror show. Anyways, all of the fireworks join together and then turn into a massive dragon that chases Cuntbridge out of the room and shoots fire right up her posh-tied arsehole. Ouch. Then there's this weird, culturally inappropriate Chinese music when the dragon appears, which really feels out of place in the film. Yeah, that is a weird thing to just throw in the soundtrack like that. Anyways, all the kids, they gather in the courtyard again, because they seem to do that a lot in this film, and they just cheer and applaud Fred and George as they fly off into the sky like Team Rocket.
Aren't they supposed to be doing their owl exams?
Yeah, but even the kids in this film know that it's a pointless subplot that's not going anywhere. Then we see Flitwick again, and he's pissed because this is his second appearance in the film, and he doesn't even have any bloody lines yet.
I mean, that's fair enough. He used to be Willow, for Christ's sake.
So next up, Hazza, he's having another one of his freaky nightmares, except this one's about Sirius and Voldemort. He's torturing him for information at the Ministry of Sound.
Oh shit, not Sirius. Not the guy he's only spoken to like 3 or 4 times.
I know, right? So Hazza, he's legging it up the stairs, and he's saying that they have to do something. But Hermo, she's like,
But Harry, what if this is exactly what Voldemort wants you to see, you stupid fucking idiot?
and then Hazza, he's like, Sirius is family. He's the only family I have, you nosy little wench. Even though he's only talked to the bloke about 3 times. So get this, they break into Cuntbridge's office, they're going to use the flu network to get to the Ministry.
Why wouldn't they just tell Dumbledore in the Order of the Phoenix?
No idea. Anyways, Hazza, he wants to do this on his own, but then Rono and Hermo are like, how many times we got to tell you, you specky twat? We're coming with you. We're in this together. And then Cuntbridge appears, and she's like,
That you are.
How'd she even have the time to figure out where they were going?
good point. No explanation is supplied. Anyways, now she has Hazza tied to a chair, so she's either going to do some weird sexual stuff, or she's going to go all Reservoir Dogs on his ass.
Oh, I almost forgot about that movie. I need to do a rewatch soon.
Oh, it holds up, trust me. Anyways, Rono and Hermo are being held captive by Malfoy, Crabbe and Goyle in the background. And weirdly, Rono looks kind of into it.
Why is he smiling like that?
No idea, but apparently Neville, Luna and Ginny have been captured too because of reasons, I guess. Then, you'll never believe who rocks up, right?
David Hasselhoff?
What? Nah, mate, bloody Snapo. And he's like,
You summoned me, you smelly vagina.
and then she goes,
Do you have any more truth serum? I want to make Harry tell me everything he's searched for on Wizard Hub.
I don't think she wants to know that. The truth might ruin it.
true. But then Snapo seems like he weirdly doesn't want to give it to her, like he's on Hazza's side for once.
Oh, I knew he was a good guy deep down.
Then he's like,
I do have various poisons you could give him that would give him an erection so hard his dick would explode and he'd bleed to death.
Holy fuck.
yeah, I know, what an asshole. Anyways, he goes to walk off, and Hazza's like, he's got Padfoot. He's got Padfoot in the place that it is hidden. Then Cuntbridge goes,
Padfoot, what the fuck is he on about, Snape?
and then Snapo goes,
No idea.
then he just bloody walks off.
Yeah, that was weird. What was that all about?
Well, remember, Snapo, he's in the Order of the Three Dicks, isn't he? We know that because of that one throwaway line that they put at the start of the film that most people probably missed.
Ah, so he was trying to signal him.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, it didn't fucking work, so Cuntbridge, she's about to blow a fuse, and she goes full Jeffrey Dahmer, and she says she's about to use one of the 3 unforgivable curses on Hazza.
Aren't they illegal though?
Well, yeah, but then she turns over a photo of Fudge Packer that she's been masturbating to, so I guess now it's all good, isn't it?
I don't even know where to start with that one.
Anyways, she's about to torture Hazza so hard that his balls fall off when Hermo's like,
Oh, for gosh sake, Harry, you specky twat. Just tell her.
what do you want about Hermione?
Dumbledore's secret weapon. I know where he's hiding it.
Then Cuntbridge gets so excited that she might expose Dumbo that her nipples get all hard, and then we cut to her walking Hazza and Hermo in the middle of the Forbidden Forest.
Well, what happened to everyone else?
No idea.
Hazza and Hermo easily be able to get away from her in a dark forest?
Yeah, a light jog and they'd probably be able to easily outrun her, but they never do. Anyways, Hermo, she's only yanking Cuntbridge's chain, isn't she? She's led her right to Grawp's hiding spot. But get this, Grawp isn't even bloody there.
Really? Where's he gone?
Well, you'll bloody see, won't you? And she goes on about how she hates kids, which is apparently why she had her ovaries removed, just so she could smash them with a hammer.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Just take the pill or something. It'd be way easier. Anyways, right as it looks like she's about to execute Hazza and Hermo, healthcare CEO style, the bloody centaurs show up. And they are well pissed, aren't they?
Oh crap, what does she do?
Well, she only starts insulting them, doesn't she? Going on about how they have human torsos and the bodies of horses, but they only inherited the genitals of a bloody rabbit.
Oh, burn.
And the centaurs, they're super ashamed of how they didn't inherit horse-sized penises, so they start firing bloody arrows at her, don't they?
She's got magic though, that'll do fuck all.
Yeah, exactly. But bloody Grawp rocks up, and he starts shaking her like a newborn baby sent to a foster home. Man, some of these jokes are getting super dark. Well, if you'd had the childhood that I'd had, you'd make dark jokes too, motherfucker. All right, I'm just saying. So, anyways, the centaurs, they start firing arrows at Grawp now, and Hermo, she's like, no, stop it! He doesn't know what he's doing! So then the centaurs, they grab bloody Cuntbridge, and they drag her right into the forest, don't they? Why don't they just shoot her like before? I don't know, the whole scene has a massive sex pest vibe. Like, who knows what they're going to do with her once they drag her into the forest, right? I feel like J.K. Rowling was going through a really dark time when she wrote that. Anyways, Hermo and Hazza, they leg it back to school, don't they? And then they bump into Ronno, Neville, Luna, and Ginny, don't they? Also, now it's daytime for some reason, so I reckon Hazza and Hermo must have gotten lost in the forest, because I have no idea why it took them so long to get back here. I'm assuming we never get an answer to that. You assumed correct, you tiny-dicked cunt. Hey! So Hazza, he wants to leg it to the Ministry of Sound by himself and do the whole selfless hero thing, but Neville, he doesn't want a bar of that crap, and he's like, oh, listen, Potter, you specky twat. What was the point in all this training if you're just going to let us sit on the bench? Tag me in, coach. I'll kick a goal from the 3-point line. I think he mixed up his sports references there. Yeah, he's mentally challenged, that's for sure. But he's also right. So Hazza, he agrees, doesn't he? But now he doesn't know how he's going to get there. So Luna says she's got the perfect idea. And then we cut to them riding those weird flying horse things that no one can see except for her and Hazza. So everyone can just see them now? Yeah, apparently. Also, why not just use the Flu network like they were going to do 10 minutes ago? That would have been way faster. I guess it would have been. So what happens next? Well, they get to the bloody ministry, don't they? And you're not going to believe this. They're only standing in the same bloody hallway from Hazza's dreams, aren't they? Oh shit, I'm leaning in again, this is fun. So, they go through the door, and there's an endless room filled with massive white hairy balls. Gross. Yeah, I know, right? Why not any black or Latina balls? Feels a little off if you ask me. They aren't balls though, are they? They're crystal balls, like Trelawney uses. Yeah, they are. But I almost had you there for a second, didn't I? No, you didn't. So anyways, they walk through the rows and rows of hairy, sweaty balls till Neville finds one with Potter's name on it. Shit, is this the prophecy Voldemort wants? Damn right it is, but get this. Hazza picks it up and a creepy voice starts talking out of it. And it's only that crazy bitch Trelawney, the chick who's into astrology and shit, but she's speaking in that same creepy voice she used at the end of Ask Gang Bang. You know, the one she used when she said Peter Pettigrew would get away and old mate Voldy would come back. Damn, so what does she say?
The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. Neither can live while the other survives.
Creepy. What the hell does that mean? Well, before they have a chance to figure it out, a bloody dick eater walks up, and he's in one of those sex party masks they wear, and then he slowly takes it off. And it's only bloody Lucius Malfoy, isn't it? Why did he bother wearing the mask if he was just going to take it off straight away? Yeah, good point. Anyways, he wants to fondle Hazza's white ball, doesn't he? Hazza, he doesn't want him to, because that would be super weird. And then Bellatrix shows up, doesn't she? Damn, what does Neville do? He must still be pissed at her after she taped electrodes to his dad's salty nuts and made both his parents lose their bloody minds. Yeah, he full on wants to deck her, but Lucius, he's like,
now let's everybody just calm down. Don't you want to know what is up with that prophecy? I can tell you about it, Harry, and you'll be low-key impressed with my vibes.
What? Yeah, he's a boomer and he's trying to speak Gen Z and failing. But get this, while he's speaking, more dick eaters have rocked up. And now they're completely bloody surrounded. That's not good. What does Hazza do? Well, he tells Lucius to piss off and go sit on a greasy fat one. And then he uses the only spell he knows how to use, and all the other kids start blasting away as well. They're poorly trained kids versus highly skilled killers. They get destroyed, right? Nah, mate, they just bloody leg it, don't they? But I thought they were surrounded. Yeah, I know, right? The scriptwriters, they were running out of time to hand in that final draft, so they just pretended that that problem didn't exist. So anyways, they all run in different directions for some reason, and then the Death Eaters turn into these dust clouds, and they start haunting them at every corner. Dust clouds? How are they doing that? Yeah, no idea. I looked it up. It's not a thing in the books. Guess the director thought it looked cool. I mean, it looks okay, but I could have easily gone without it though. Yeah, me too. Anyway, somehow they managed to meet up at the same door, even though this place was an endless maze. And to make things worse, when they go through the door, they all fall like 100 bloody feet down onto the hard floor. Jesus Christ, do they break every bone in their body? Nah, mate, they're totally fine. But get this right, there's a weird door with like this see-through silk cloth thing wafting in the wind.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no clue what that's about. Anyways, Hazza, he steps real close to it. He's like, "Can you hear that?" And Ronno, he's like, "No, mate, you've gone bloody mental. Let's get out of here." But then Luna, she can bloody hear him too, can't she?
Just like those weird flying horses that weirdly became important.
Yeah, mate, but get this right, because Hazza wasted their time looking at a pointless door. The Dick Eaters catch up with their weird dust cloud things and they surround them all. And when Hazza gets up, all of his mates have been taken hostage. Then Lucius walks up really slowly and dramatically with a cane, even though he was walking just fine before without one, and he tells Hazza to give up the prophecy or he'll kill them all, the same way Putin kills all of his political opponents.
If they were able to grab everyone before, why didn't they just grab Harry too?
True, I guess the movie would be over and the writers promised to deliver a few more pages, so this is happening. Anyways, Lucius, he has Hazza by the balls now, doesn't he? So Hazza has no choice but to hand it over.
Why would he do that? Then he has nothing to bargain with.
Yeah, I know, he's a fucking idiot. Anyways, just as he hands it over, Sirius walks up and he stands in front of Lucius and he's like,
Get away from my godson, you posh twat!
which makes no sense because all of the Dick Eaters could have totally shot him like 10 times by the time it took him to walk up and say that line.
What a waste of time.
Anyways, he decks Lucius in the face harder than that bloke who punched a kangaroo for attacking his dog, and Lucius drops the prophecy on the ground and it bloody smashes into a billion bloody pieces.
What, so this has all been for nothing?
Yeah, mate, Hazza fucked up big time. Anyways, there's a massive battle and all the Order of the Three Dicks, who we barely had any screen time with, rock up and they fight the Dick Eaters. And then, get this right, Sirius, he's bloody loving it, isn't he? Him and Hazza are fighting side by side.
Oh, cute, like godson and godfather.
Yeah, exactly, except Sirius, he makes it super weird when he calls Hazza by his dad's name. And that confuses Hazza so much that Bellatrix Lestrangle-Me, she gets the jump on them. And she blasts Sirius straight into that weird curtain thing.
I mean, it's just a curtain though. He'll be fine.
Nah, mate, he gets bloody vaporized, doesn't he?
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, Hazza, he's gutted and he starts having a massive cry in the middle of the battle, and then all the sound kind of cuts out to make it super dramatic as Lupin holds him back from jumping in that weird curtain thing after him. You know, the curtain that neither the books or the movies ever really explain.
Yeah, it feels like a really arbitrary thing to include.
Maybe she'll make one of those shitty Fantastic Beasts films about it. Anyway, somehow Hazza and Lupin don't get attacked while Hazza's having a massive whinge, and then Hazza, he decides to leg it after Bellatrix, who conveniently is only a few feet away for some reason.
Time and space are really just going out of the window in this finale, huh?
You know it, mate. Anyways, Hazza chases her through the Ministry of Sound, and he manages to disarm her in the big area where all the fireplaces to the Archu Bless You network are.
The Flu Network?
Yeah, that joke was a bit of a stretch, sorry. Anyways, bloody Voldemort rocks up, doesn't he? And he goes full Senator Palpatine, and he's like,
Do it.
So then Hazza has to decide whether he's going to let vengeance control him by killing her and taking one step closer to becoming Voldemort.
Holy shitballs, what does he do?
He only bitches out, doesn't he? And then old mate Voldy, he's like,
Pathetic! When I was your age, I was strangling baby cats for fun. I'm glad your parents are dead, you beta cuck.
What a cunt.
Anyways, just when it looks like Voldy's going to kill Hazza, Dumbo rocks up through the Flu Network, and he's like,
It was foolish of you to come here, Tom. You pelican, the auras are on their way.
What's taken them so long? Why can't they apparate or just use the Flu Network like him?
No idea. I think the director just thought, fuck it. At this point, it's a 100-year-old wizard fighting a guy with no nose. Logic went out the window about 3 fucking hours ago.
Yeah, that is true, but it still feels lazy.
Oh yeah, it's super lazy. Anyways, they have this super sick wizard fight that feels very reminiscent of Vader versus Luke in Return of the Jedi.
As in how we remember it or how it actually holds up today?
How we remember it, of course. If you watch it now, it's super slow and lacks any real tension.
I feel like we're going to get some angry comments for that one.
Yeah, well, fuck 'em. Anyways, Voldy and Dumbo are locked in a massive Kamehameha like Cell and Gohan when Bellatrix legs it into the Flu Network, and as the green flames surround her, she looks like she comes so hard in her pants that it shakes the whole building.
It's a weird acting choice.
Yeah, Helena Bonham Carter, she kind of makes everything weirdly sexual.
I'm not sure you're one to talk, mate.
Yeah, good point. So Dumbo, he's trying his hardest to keep Hazza alive, but like an absolute lemming, he keeps walking into the battle, so he has to keep pushing him back. He's clearly at a disadvantage. And then Voldy, he screams so loud that it shatters all the glass in the arena, and he sends it flying at Hazza and Dumbo. and he laughs, thinking he's got him cornered, but just when it looks like it's about to hit him, Dumbledore turns all the glass into sand.
Well, that's a bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, I know, right? Even Voldy thinks so he just bloody gives up and disappears, doesn't he?
Really?
Yeah, but get this right, he starts using his freaky mind powers to try and destroy Hazza from the inside. You know, the same way those e-girls destroy themselves with massive dragon tail dildos on Pornhub.
Gross. I do not want to see your search history, mate.
Like yours is any better. Anyways, Hazza, he's writhing around on the ground, and Voldemort, he's taunting Hazza from inside his head. He's like,
Your life is pointless. None of your actions will matter in 100 years. And when you die, all of your friends and family will be sad for about 3 days. And then they'll just fucking forget about you.
Jesus Christ.
right? But then Dumbo, he leans down and he strokes Hazza's head, and he whispers in his ear, which feels a little close to a move that Bill Cosby might do.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like,
Harry, it's not how similar you are. It's how different you are to Voldemort that makes you strong.
Hang on. What?
yeah, it's pretty lame. And then Hazza, he has this massive realization, and he goes, You don't have any friends or family, no one to love you. That's my strength. I feel sorry for you.
Well, that's even more lame.
Yeah, I know, right? Would have been much cooler if Hazza had pulled out like an AK-47 and just blown Voldy's nuts off. Anyways, for some reason, Voldemort's back now, and he's standing over Hazza watching him die. And then all of the auras finally fucking
Where
arrive.
the fuck have they been?
I don't know, maybe they all used Apple Maps instead of Google Maps.
Oh yeah, that would explain it.
Anyways, Fudgepacker, he's there too, and he sees Voldemort, and he finally has to admit that he's bloody back. Even though with all of the investigators and auras he had at his disposal, he must have fucking known that already.
That's true. Kind of makes the whole battle with the Ministry feel a little pointless, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And to make it all even more pointless, we see more newspaper titles where Hazza and Dumbo have been vindicated, but apparently everyone still talks about his weird alien butthole flashlight thing.
So the movie just resets the story back to where we finished the last one.
Yeah, pretty much, except that Sirius died in that weird curtain thing.
What was JK smoking when she wrote this one?
I think they just threw shit tons of money at her, so she just came up with this plot while she was taking a shit. Anyways, Hazza has one last convo with Luna. She's wandering the halls putting up posters because people are bullying her and they've stolen all of her stuff.
You'd think at a school with magic they'd be able to police bullying a bit better, right?
Yeah, true, but I think like most public school teachers, they just don't give a fuck anymore. Anyways, Luna tells Hazza not to worry because the things that you lose, they always have a habit of finding their way back to you. And then she looks up into the sky.
Ah, she's talking about Sirius. That's kind of sweet.
Yeah, sort of, but then it's kind of ruined when it's revealed that she's actually just looking at a pair of shoes she lost earlier on.
So she wasn't talking about Sirius?
No clue, mate.
So what happens next?
Well, Dumbo, he gives another bloody speech, doesn't he? And he's like,
Listen up, you little cunts. 60% of you people that watch these videos haven't even bloody subscribed yet.
Do we really have to do this at the end of every episode?
watch this bloody video, guys.